so it's on your page.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome to another live discussion with Dr. D. I am super excited for you guys to join us on this evening. I'm excited to continue our discussion on the mantle of a man. Like, man, it's June, it's Men's Month. We're talking men all day long, all month long, and we're talking with men. Tonight, I am super duper excited to announce to you guys, you can see him, he's here. I already tagged him in the video. It's Patrick Patterson, man. The Fatherhood Initiative guru himself is what I like to call him. Patrick Patterson, thank you so much for coming on. You're quite welcome. Would you just, tell the audience, for those who are watching, who may not know who Patrick Patterson is and what he does. Hayward Johnson, what's up, champions?
Home team. I am a Columbia boy. I am a father of two girls. I'm a husband of one.
Amen.
Try to be clear. That's important. You gotta say that.
You gotta say it.
22 years will be Friday.
Oh man, happy anniversary.
If you're there, you can clap.
Yeah, 22 years.
Very passionate about fathers.
Awesome.
My entire life I've worked with dads, and so just happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm super excited to kind of dive in because one of the things that Patrick talked about, he and I had this conversation about having, him on the live, and there's some things that stood out to me. So I'm going to use our conversation that we had and then bring it to the forefront.
Sounds good.
You said, given your background when you grew up, you didn't want to attend college. That was not really your thing to do. Your mom, you talked about it with your family, but it was not something you wanted to do. No. But you ended up doing it. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey and why that was important for you?
I feel like I'm like most kids. My parents were married when I was a young boy. They separated. That's the reality of a lot of our kids.
Yeah.
My father was and still is my hero. He worked a job. When he got home from work, he was laughing every day. He didn't go to college. That looked like easy for me.
Right.
Make money, have a great weekend. And in the middle of my teenage years, my parents separated. And so my focus on what I wanted to do went away.
Okay.
So I was just trying to finish.
Gotcha.
When I finished high school, 1.3 GPA, was not focused, was just kind of mentally out of the space, and just figured I would just chill, get me a local job, work for the city. And lo and behold, this fine sister, who I had no business bothering, a year older than me, it was prom time. You know prom.
Yeah, I know about prom. I know about prom.
I decided after talking to a buddy of mine, I was going to ask her out.
Oh, wow.
And one of her challenges for me was, if you really want to be my boyfriend, you got to go to college.
Man. Things we
years.
Do for women, man.
Oh, man.
The things men will do.
I was chasing. I'll just leave it at that. But she said to me something I'd never heard. She said, I play ball. She said, I think you're more than a ball player.
Man.
And so I never heard that.
Man.
Not in my family, not by any girl I was dating. She said, I think you're more than a ball player. And so, but if you want to date me, you got to go to school.
Man.
That shifted my universe.
Man.
So
they was like, that's good.
I began applying to colleges. I didn't realize you have to have good grades to get in. And I got rejection letters left and right. And she helped me fill out my first application.
Wow.
I got accepted 3 degrees later.
Here you are.
Here I am.
Man.
With the same woman.
With the same woman. That's amazing. I love stories like that, man, because it lets you know, one, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's really okay. I love that even though it was motivated by love, it was motivated by your desire to be with this woman, it made you a better man.
It did.
It made you want to see something outside of what you were seeing in front of you. And there's nothing wrong with that. And men, you can talk about that more so from a man perspective, but I've seen it. Men are often motivated by the goal and the prize.
Yeah.
So you knew you get that woman.
I was pretty clear. We went to the prom twice.
Okay, twice.
Both prom dates, I had a different agenda, and she had a clean agenda.
Okay.
And in both cases, what I always remind people is, women, I have daughters. You have to set the standard.
You have to. Absolutely.
Guys, including myself, would do whatever you allow.
Absolutely.
In every conversation throughout our teenage years, my wife, then girlfriend, had a standard.
It's amazing.
And it was set honestly by her father, which reshaped everything in my conversation. Now I'm a dad with 2 daughters.
Man.
And it was a beautiful foundation for me.
That's actually really, really good,
Yeah.
Patrick, that you share that, because of course, I mean, that's what the topic is, you know,
Yeah.
the impact and influence of fatherhood.
Yeah.
And you stated her standard came from her dad.
It did.
And you have girls now.
I do have
And even
girls.
though when you were dating her, like you had your own agenda,
Yeah.
she kept her standard, which kept you
In
focused.
line, yeah.
Right. It kept you in line with what was going to be tolerated
Yeah.
and what was not. And if you wanted that goal,
Yeah.
that girl, you were going to have to do what it took to get that girl. And I want to kind of segue into that,
Yeah.
because as men sometimes, you know, that can be, women have in the younger generation. I'm married already, so
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with some of the dating woes that I'm hearing about.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But for the women who aren't married
Yeah.
and they do have standards, but then they keep getting met with men that are just like challenging those standards,
Yeah.
because you know times have changed,
Yeah.
all of these different things. What do you have to say, like, to those women and to those men about valuing those standards?
I think love is a funny thing.
Yeah.
Every time I talk about relationships with men or women, I always explain to them my journey. My journey was one where I honestly wanted to be married.
Okay.
I said to somebody today, earlier, I never wanted to get divorced though. I saw what it did. And so you got to go into understanding what you want out of it. People
That's
talk about what
good.
they don't want.
What
I knew what I wanted.
Yeah, that's
to be
good.
married forever. The
That's
second
good.
thing I say about for men and women watching is you got to know who you are before you marry somebody else.
Say that again.
You got to know who you are before
That's
you marry
so
somebody else.
good.
It was important for me. I was raised in the church that I married somebody who had the same set of values, and so I went into the marriage. I got married.
Hey, Raquel.
I was 22. I was very clear about what I wanted, specifically in somebody who could take care of me, but also love me for who I am.
Yeah.
Now, we have grown tremendously. My list of things I wanted at 22 is different at 44.
Absolutely.
But the beauty of growing together is a wonderful story.
Yes, it is.
But standards are very important. Being flexible is very important, and being honest.
That's good.
One of the challenges that I'll just speak about men today.
Okay.
A lot of men that I've talked to over the years have faced is just the whole, I got options, dog.
Yeah.
So I ain't got to tell her everything I'm doing.
Right.
I get brothers who ask me, so your wife knows your code to your phone?
Absolutely.
You left your phone at home?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the peace of mind that you have when you don't have to be trying to figure out which lie I told
Right.
yesterday versus today. So
Right.
standards is super important with
That's
communication
good.
piece as well. I could go on and on.
That's good. And you got, you know, people chime in. My sister-in-law, she's
Yeah.
like, man, this is good. She's like shaking her head like, this is
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
So, but that's important because it all centers around fatherhood.
Yeah.
Like, fatherhood doesn't start the moment you have a child.
No.
You know, it starts in those moments where I would say when you were looking at your parents
Yeah.
and you were looking at the things that you desired in your
Yeah.
marriage. And then when you met Shirani, when you met her, it's like my fatherhood challenge started then.
Yeah, it did.
Because I knew at some point in time, if I'm going to be with this woman,
Yeah.
we're going to have children.
Yeah.
And I need to know the standards for myself
Yeah.
so I can teach them, because you don't know if you're going to have a boy or girl.
Yeah.
And either way, it's important to know how to handle yourself, whether you have boys or girls,
Yeah.
so that they go into society with their own standards.
Yeah.
And it's important for men to have standards.
Yeah.
Like we talk about
That's a
women
great
having,
point. That's a great
you know,
point.
we talk about women having standards, but we've lived a life a lot of times with double standards.
Yeah.
Where men, it was okay to do this,
Yeah.
but women couldn't do this.
Yeah.
But talk about the importance of men having standards.
You get what you pay for.
Lord have mercy.
It's the way I think about it.
That is good.
A lot of times we're older than the young generation now, but a lot of folks want your mate to have a car, a house, good credit. I mean, all the stuff that I did not have when I got married. The beauty of having standards is growing together.
Yeah.
People think that it's like this that you grow, but really it's like this.
That's so good.
Like the little bit that we have
Turns
more
into
now.
much. Yeah, that's
But we
good.
did that together.
Wow.
My wife, I went to graduate school first. We agreed for us to get to this, we can't do it at the same time. I went to graduate school first, she worked. We flipped it, but we were working together towards
Right.
this thing. Children, I mean, I have to say this. I was a kind of guy that when I finally got to college, I said, oh, I can do this. Excelled in college.
Yeah.
Got to a place where I thought that I could map out my life. And this is where things changed for us as a couple.
Okay.
Graduated graduate school. I said on my list, graduate school, have kids. We got pregnant a month after I finished graduate school.
Wow.
We had a miscarriage.
Man.
And I thought we were the only people on earth that had ever experienced that.
Wow.
If you know the research about miscarriages, you know, your relationship can either get stronger,
right, or grow apart,
or you grow apart.
Mm-hmm.
The same time that we had that experience, we were kind of like shaken because we had told everybody we were pregnant. My grandmother said to me, like, you know, just keep it quiet. I said, Grandma was a hater.
Yeah, that old school. That's old school. They don't believe in telling anybody.
She said, clear this. And then I was like, wow.
Yep, that first trimester.
I'm excited. She was like, just hold off.
Yeah.
And wisdom always speaks louder when you're in a situation. Mm-hmm. But now I understand. But the support that we got from people to share. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, I was as hurt as my wife because we were both excited about it.
Right.
But our relationship got stronger. 8 years later. Think about this now.
8 years.
8 years later, we had our first child.
Wow. Do y'all hear that?
8 years
8 years later.
Everybody wants things right now.
My
when
goodness.
I tell you our faith grew, our fearlessness to accomplish things together grew, but our relationship became stronger. Anything you see that I do that people are proud about or excited about, just know that it's done with my wife.
Absolutely.
The same thing happened with us having kids. Our prayer life, when I say praying until you go to sleep, and we still do, but it was an emotional breakthrough for me because I was able to open my heart and transparently connect with my mate. Mm-hmm. And so I cry. My wife will tell you, my kids graduate, they have fun stuff. I cry.
Yeah.
When things are happening in my personal life, I cry. But my wife, when we got the miscarriage, I remember everybody saying to me like, yo, hold it together for her. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dog, I'm hurt too.
Right, yeah. They're putting that pressure on you. Right.
Which hurts men, but my wife said to me one thing that she has never had to say again because it released me. She said, it's okay for you to cry.
Amen. Thank God for a good wife.
When she said that to me, snot bubbles. I'm talking.
Yes, snot bubbles.
I'm talking a stream of tears.
Wow.
I haven't cried in years.
Man.
But when I think about what it takes for us to coexist and to grow together, you got to be open with your mate.
Yeah.
And when you talk about men and women, I know a lot of guys maintain this exterior, but my wife appreciates me being vulnerable.
And that's major. I want men that are watching to hear that, like, women, we appreciate you guys being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like, and I know there may have been times in a man's life where that vulnerability was, you know, perverted or taken advantage of. It causes them to kind of go into the shell.
Yeah.
But when you are married, you know, and you have a mate that's standing with you, it is okay. And I mean, Patrick is here. He's the man. He's telling you it's okay to be vulnerable, to cry, to have emotions, to, you know, not just sad tears, even happy tears. Like he said, even at graduations, he's like thoroughly just in his emotions and it's fine. Yeah. And I love that. And that's part of the influence and the impact of fatherhood because your children see that.
They love it.
And that's what they can look forward to. They're going to want a man in their life to be like, man, I need someone to be as open as my father was with my mother.
We marry our parents. I mean, it's
enough.
You've seen this, right?
Yes.
My wife, years later, her dad was amazing. She said to me a little while ago, she said, one thing I love about you, and I grew up in the projects. Okay. So and I never thought of myself like that, but she's like, you hood. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not hood. But if you affect or mess up my wife and my kids, it's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, yeah.
She said,
a conversation at all.
Yeah. We're moving stuff around.
Yeah, let's be real. Look, I put the OGs on here today.
So she said, but you are a protector, but also her dad was a big man. Was the kind of guy that just hugged you in this way that was just embracing. But she said to me recently that she loves me because I'm similar in many ways to her father. Okay. And I'll be honest, as I've gotten older, she's like my mother in many ways. So
you typically end up marrying your parents. There's, of course, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen that commercial. I think it may be a Geico or a Progressive commercial where these couples are standing around and then everybody's acting like their parents. And it gets like that. Maybe not that extreme for people, but it does. You know, you're looking at your wife and like, dang, she acting just like my mama. Or you're looking at your husband and you're like, dang, he acts just like my daddy. But when you set those standards and you place yourself to be found as a woman and to get your mate, you know, as you're seeking as a man, you find that that's pretty much what you usually attract. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm certainly glad that you shared that. Sharani is a beast still.
She is.
The reason why this live is happening is because of Sharani. She's a beast. Shout out to you. Sharani, you are a beast. So if you're watching or if you see the replay, know that I said you're a beast. Yes. You are all right with me. So that's phenomenal. That's awesome. I want you to tell us a little bit about the Fatherhood initiative. You've got this big conference coming up in August, and I mean you just set up this fatherhood group that just kind of exploded over the last couple of weeks. Tell us a little bit about that and your work in that.
So the work that I've been doing is tied to my parents, my father specifically. Although my dad had troubles, I still see him as my hero. He taught me a lot of lessons, and what I know about men, and this is my experience, is that we have to feel safe to show you who we really are. And my dad, his safety place typically was not in front of people. So at various moments in my life, although he had troubles, he had been incarcerated, he was still the wisest man I knew. At various points, when I first got married, I had this real big issue. I was paying bills at my mother's house and married for months. And my wife was like, yo, bro, I mean, you read the Bible. Right?
It's clear. Leave it clean.
So I had this trouble, and my father, and I'm going to come back to your question, but I want to tie this in. My father said to me this. He said, listen, and he drank, and then he'd have periods where he didn't drink. And if I caught him in those dry seasons when he wasn't drinking, it's when I got all this wisdom. But he said to me, listen, he said, if your mama needs shoes, because I was troubled by this, because I didn't want to leave my mama out.
Right.
If your mama needs shoes and your wife needs shoes, who get the shoes? I said, that's a dumb question. I said, mama get the shoes. I'm sure there's somebody who agrees with me.
Right. I knew this was coming, right?
I said, mama get the shoes. And my dad said, wrong. Your wife get the shoes. And I said, but he said, listen to me. Your wife is the top priority. You can't split your finances, your heart, your dreams.
Absolutely.
They belong to your wife.
That's so good.
So I'm a year into marriage. This is powerful. He said, you have to go tell your mother, but you got to have your wife beside you to let her know this is the last day you. I said, I can't do that.
Man.
So my wife had been supportive, but you can tell there was a little bit of tension there with that situation.
Yeah, of course.
So Sunday after church, I went, took my wife. We sit there in the living room. My mom was cooking Sunday dinner, whatever. And I was scared to death. We had the conversation, and I remember leaving the house, worried about my mother, but feeling more love for my wife. Because at that point, I made a declaration that, listen, this is where everything is.
Yeah.
I'm never leaving the family, of course, but this is where the priorities are. And it shifted my relationship with my wife on a whole other level. And my dad told me that. I said, I was worried about my mother being mad, because she took care of us when we separated. He said, your mother birthed you. She's always going to love you.
Absolutely.
She's going to be tight for a minute, but she'll be fine.
It'll be all right.
But you want to make your home happy. So what I learned in all of that was no matter what men go through, they all have gifts. My dad was wise. He is wise, and it saved me. So when I meet men now who are in despair, who are just getting out of jail, who have issues, I know there's a greater place in them. And what I do my best to do is to find that. So for 20 years, 45 different states, 7 different countries.
Man.
I've had a chance to touch and share the power of being a good man. And I always thought my dad is the reason that I'm doing this work. And I can't tell you enough that every man has a story. If we get to it, I'll tell you what I didn't know about my dad that kind of created the separation with my parents. But my dad, like many other men, are powerful. They just don't know it.
Man, that's so good. Like that's my heart.
Yeah.
Because I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that there are many men, and if I can be candid, like I'm very, very adamant and I'm a strong advocate for our black men.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they carry the jewels. They carry the things that they need. They just have not been awakened to it.
Yeah.
They just don't know that they actually have it.
Yeah.
Like they can be good fathers. They can be good husbands, like good providers, good businessmen.
Yeah.
Like they have it. It's just having conversations, making spaces that are safe enough for them to be vulnerable, enough to share some of the things that are blocking them, from, going to the places or being that thing that we know that they are qualified and have been called to do.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Patrick on, guys, because he definitely, like he says, 45 states, 7 countries, like he's been all over the place globally, sharing the important impact and influence of being a good man and being an impactful father, because man, the children, they need good fathers.
They want.
And they want them. That's so good.
They want their fathers.
Woo.
What I found out is...
And Sharani say, hey, honey, you looking good.
Hey, Sharani. I've never met a man in my life, and I've seen many men, who has not wanted to be with his kids.
Man.
He's been having trouble with the wife or the ex. But if I say, listen, brother, do you want your son to go through what you went through?
Man.
They don't.
No.
They don't.
Woo.
What I have found out, though, is 3 things that men need. And this is very important.
Y'all take notes. 3 things.
The first thing that men need is a safe place.
That's good.
And that's not always a building.
Right.
It's a person sometimes. It's granny. I know some hard dudes that don't talk to nobody, but they will tell granny everything.
Yeah.
People think it's another man. It is a lot of times, but a safe place. The second thing they need is appreciation.
That's good.
Men do more of what you appreciate. My wife knows this. I cook lasagna all the time.
Yeah.
One of the reasons is because when I make it, she goes crazy. And we like feeling appreciated.
Absolutely.
The 2 words that matter most to men are thank you.
That's so good.
And so I always do this when I train people. If you can't say a thank you to somebody, there's probably a little bit of an issue still you're working on. But for mothers who are not with the fathers of their children, it's Father's Day coming up. If he comes to get the kids, no matter how much stuff y'all going through, tell the brother thank you.
So good.
It's not going to hurt you. You're not doing it for you. You're not doing it for him. You're doing it for the kids.
Man.
So appreciation is the second thing. The last thing that men need is really important is affirmation.
That's true.
Good job. You did great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you called. Your son really wanted to see you for his birthday, and it meant a lot. Affirm him in his face. If you can mix those 3 things in, they don't have to be all at the same time.
Right.
You're going to see a whole new person. When I work with the hardest criminals, when I go into jails, people say, like, he don't talk to nobody. You have to create a space.
Yeah.
You can't judge people, period. But when you talk about men, when men feel judged, they shut down.
They shut down.
And so
completely.
It's really important that you understand those 3 elements.
That's so good. For those of you all just tuning in, thank you to everyone who's watching. I see your names popping up. We're having a very, very, very intense dialogue about the impact and influence of fatherhood. And particularly, we're talking about the mantle of a man. And Patrick here is giving like jewels.
Yeah.
He's giving them to you. And we just covered like the 3 main things that a man needs. And that's a safe space. Appreciation and affirmation.
Yeah.
Like those are the main things. And I love the example that he gave. Like if you're watching and you are a wife and you may be separated from your spouse, or you are a woman who have children and your father, the father of the children are coming in to spend time for Father's Day or birthdays, be appreciative no matter what
No matter what.
no matter what.
It's not about you right
It's
now.
not about you all. It's about the children.
Yeah.
So give that space for the man to be the man in that situation.
Yeah.
It helps thoroughly, a great deal.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. While we're talking about or on the subject of children, Of course, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people went crazy last week when They See Us came out about, you know.
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking
right,
about.
you know, and I remember talking about it in like, I think I might have been in upper elementary going to middle school when it happened. And I do remember us having the discussion in schools. A lot of the, you know, newer generations are like, oh my God, like, but, you know, we were coming through school when the Central Park 5 actually, you know, happened. And so we see these young boys, you know, and some have fathers, active fathers, others didn't. And our children are coming, you know, up in different societies. We've had all these different issues that have happened with our children, with law enforcement, different things of that nature. Like, as a man, and because of the work that you do with other men, why is it important for all children to have the father figure in their life? Like, not just the father biologically, but that teacher or that counselor, that coach, that mentor, someone.
Yeah. Dads are our safety pin. So in my case, it's important to let my daughters know what safety looks like. This is a real story. My kids are on average afraid of dogs when I'm not around.
Oh, wow.
For whatever reason, my presence, they're no longer afraid of dogs.
That's powerful.
That's the case for me too.
That's powerful.
So for all the people who are out there watching, it is important that people understand that dads bring safety when they're present.
Man, that's good.
When I talk to fathers, it's important that you demonstrate, not just communicate, but demonstrate to your boys. Self-control is two things that I always talk about with men. It's the difference between life and death.
Yeah.
For black boys,
Yeah.
you got a situation, slow it down for a minute.
Yeah.
Any subtle movements in any situation could mean life or death. It can be life or death at work, at school, in the park. Self-control. One of the greatest things that my dad taught me was take a moment. Like, chill. In the midst of chaos, chill is really important. But it's important for people to understand that dads play a role in providing safety for their families.
Right.
You cannot argue the facts. The research even shows that when dads are around, kids are in a safer environment, which is very important.
Absolutely. Hi. We got visitors coming in, guys. It's live TV. You're going to catch it all. Go ahead.
So I think the other thing to emphasize is just how important it is for women to express their appreciation.
Yeah.
My wife says, it makes me feel good. When I travel, she says to me, I can't sleep the same.
Right. That's true. Like, I'm a married woman. Yes. It's very, very true. My husband's not at home. I do not rest well.
Men love to feel needed.
Right.
And so when she says that to me, you got to know I'm trying to close out this meeting wherever I'm at to get home to my wife.
To your wife.
So it has to be reemphasized. People always say that you can treat men the same as women. We're different.
You're very different.
We're very different. With men, you have to express your appreciation. And in the space of safety, the Central Park 5, the shootings, the police engagement, men are a safety pin. For boys to really understand how to navigate police, they need to hear it from men. It's really important.
That's really, really good. I really like that last statement, the emphasis of, you know, the issues that are out there, because they're out there.
Yeah.
But there's a way that we can circumvent those things when fathers are present, or when you have the presence of men, you know, in the lives of children. And like I shared, it may not be a biological, and all men, you know, aren't in jail or displaced fathers. I mean, some children just lost their father physically at younger ages, you know, where they didn't know their dad. You know, he might have passed away early and different things, but they still need that granddad or that uncle or that mentor, coach. To, you know, make sure, because growing up, that's what the coaches did back in my day, in middle school, high school, and even elementary. They took those kids like they were their own. And they made sure, especially those boys, you know, that they knew they had someone to come to, had a safe space. So I think it's still important for us to do that, and not always. And yes, we're talking about, you know, the dynamic things that Patrick is doing, but it doesn't always have to be in the essence for money.
No.
Like, you know, these children, we can't be on social media posting about all this stuff, but then we're not reaching out. You know, just lending a helping hand to that single mom or to that grandma raising those children for, you know, for whatever reason. So I think it's very important. So definitely want to make sure and chime in on that.
Yeah.
You covered some of the other things that I wanted to share by that last question.
Yeah.
But can you tell the audience a little bit about, we have a major event. I'm going to hype him up because I'm going to be in the building.
Yeah.
With, representing with the men. I'm pretty
Year
sure, I don't know if you guys.
Year 5.
This
Year
is
5.
year 5.
Yeah.
Tell us about this, man. This is awesome.
So I'll give you the backstory. So for 10 years, I was thinking about doing this conference.
Man.
I'm being very honest. I was afraid.
We all are.
We
all get that. So let's get that out of the way.
It's my testimony. At first, I thought about doing this 10 years prior because I was a kid who failed 9th grade, 1.3 GPA upon graduation. Mm-hmm. And when I look back, there were still kids going through the same little system that I was going through. So I said, I want to do something in the community. 10 years, I kept saying, I'll do it this year. No, I'll do it next year.
Right.
I do. And then my father, who at this time was somewhat ill, I would tell him this dream of mine to do this conference. I kept saying, I just got to get ready. This is really important about the benefit of a man expressing or giving permission to another man. My dad said, he said, you are ready.
Man.
He said, you're ready. And for some reason, like whatever was on me,
just dropped off.
Fell off me. And so I decided, all right, I've been doing this stuff across the country. I'm doing it at home. I'm going to gather some people. And I said, we'll just get 100 people.
Yep.
We just
we're just going to try this.
Yeah, mama make the cake.
Right.
Get some pizza. And so the first year I came, I was living in Delaware. We came home.
Okay.
I touched base with some of my local friends, colleagues, people who I grew up with, and said, listen, I want to do this. Would you? This is me talking, like, would you? Yeah. It's immediate response. First year, we had a little more than 600 people show up at the conference.
Man.
They came from 12 different states, all over. And I was afraid. And at the end of the conference, my exhale was one thing to have, but my faith, it always grows, but it just grew. It was like, be bold.
Yeah.
Stop being scared.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the same fears that I had 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
The second thing that happened was the number of boys who came to the conference who were just looking to not even talk to me or any other male, just to see a brother.
Man.
To see brothers dapping each other up, to see brothers in blazers, to see brothers who were saying good morning, to see brothers who were being respectful to women. They hadn't seen it. And so the inbox messages and the Facebook posts and things that I heard from mom saying, I don't know what you did for my son, but I can't wait till next year, which I was going to do it 1 year. And then we got donations in advance. So here's money for next year.
Wow.
I wasn't going to do this next year.
And thrust. Push you out there.
It's truly not mine. Over the last 4 years, we have raised a little more than $150,000.
Man.
To do the conference every year. Every year that we've held a conference, by the time we open the doors, everything that we owe is paid for. But that's faith, that's team, and that's being clear about who's in charge. And who's in charge is not one of us.
Ultimate Father.
You gotta really think about this. Because I can't explain how, for example, this year, Panera Bread is our sponsor for breakfast. Like, we are not paying anything for breakfast for 700 people. BJ's Restaurant in Irma is our sponsor. They were our sponsor last year for lunch.
Yeah.
We're not paying anything for it. And I'm talking baked ziti. I'm talking chicken Alfredo.
Good food.
I'm talking cookies. I'm talking you're going to be sleepy when
right.
you go to the car.
Good food.
I can't tell you how Wells Fargo has become a sponsor. I can't tell you how Colonial Life.
Oh, I've been watching.
I mean, all of us.
all the posts. And the last one of them, man.
All of these partners see the value. This is what I want to say to anybody who's watching. A lot of times we are shameful about our faith, our ethnicity. I am black and I'm proud.
Amen.
I'm not trying to look like or act like anything but who I am. So a lot of times we shrink who we are, hoping that we're going to attract other people.
Right.
Meanwhile, there are people who want you for who you are.
For who you are.
So you don't have to fake it.
Woo!
You don't have to hide who you are. You can be proud in that because there's just as many people who want that as those who don't want that.
Correct.
So I've had conversations with people who are in executive suites, as they call them C-suites, who are doing tremendous work around this country. There are two things that I always do in these conversations. I still tell my story.
It's important.
because our stories connect us.
That's right.
One of our sponsors, I went to the executive office and I shared, his question was, why are you doing this? I told a little bit of my father's story and just why this is so important. And the man said to me after everybody, he said, if you don't mind, just hang back for a minute. Mm-hmm. He said, we have the same story. And whatever you need, I'm going to support it. That's it. That wasn't, I never proposal, I never did anything fancy. Our stories connected us.
Absolutely.
The second thing that I do that's really important when you're doing this kind of thing is you really make sure that people feel welcome. And so if you're listening and watching, if you want to volunteer, if you want to be a vendor, you want to come out and just be a part of the conference, my arms typically are like this.
Right.
I'm inviting people in because the solution is not with me.
Right.
It's not with you.
Right.
It's
all of us, the collective body.
It's with all of us. So this is year 5.
Whoop, whoop.
We are going, whoop, whoop is right. We are going to have a blast. I have, after July 4th, the most amazing announcement that I cannot wait to tell you guys. But it is going to shift the game.
Awesome.
It's going to shift the game. We do a very good job, I think, of asking kids who attended, asking fathers who attended, what do you want next year? And so nothing's determined by me. It's a collective. There's an African proverb that says, those who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me how I like my grades. You got to ask me.
Right.
For this to be successful, you got to ask people. But this year is going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm trying to hold on stuff. My wife knows I tell everything.
Just hold it. Let them just salivate over that and prepare to come. Yeah, I believe it's going to be amazing as well.
I will tell you, if you're looking to join us, the website is scmaleachievement.com. We have some free tickets on the website. July 15th, the prices go up by a couple dollars. So we have early bird tickets now. But we're expecting 700 fathers, men, boys, and mothers this year. If I can just add one thing.
Sure.
Every year we have this host of women that come.
Wow.
Who are moms of these boys, who are grandmas or aunties of these boys. This year, based on feedback, we're doing a mothers only session. That is mothers raising, if you're married, if you're not married, if you have a son or a nephew in your family, we're doing a mothers only session where you're going to have some of these kind of veteran, older moms who've raised boys, who can say, don't hit him upside the head.
Right.
Hug him.
Man.
As opposed to saying, don't run, say walk.
Yeah.
It's just, you're trying to get the same thing.
Yeah.
How do you communicate with boys? This is what I believe and I've learned. The way you speak to boys determines how they grow. If you demean boys, they become mean boys.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
But if you lift these guys up, they go higher.
Yeah.
And boys are sensitive. Males are sensitive.
Yes.
You know this.
Yes.
But we are creatures of simplicity.
Man.
Your words matter with boys. And I always say this when I'm talking to moms. I get invited to talk to moms a lot. You gotta love boys in a certain way.
You do.
If they don't get the love from their mother, fathers are critical. But if a boy doesn't have that relationship with his mom, he's a different man.
Yeah.
So this year's session is for moms of young boys, college-age high school boys. We got 2 panelists. I'm gonna be releasing this stuff pretty soon.
Okay.
That are gonna lead this session. And our goal is really to give moms just the tools to ensure that boys are safe and self-sufficient.
That's good.
You know what I mean? There's some other workshops I'll get into if we have time, but this year is going to be special.
That's awesome.
We got some stuff. I'm trying to hold these posts.
Yeah, hold it for him. Because I love the surprise effect. I know it's a lot. Look, I'm holding down, Sharon. I'm not going to let him tell it.
I want to drop it so bad. Jeez.
I'm not going to let him tell it, but I will say this. If you have not gotten out there, like I said, go to the website he mentioned.
scmaleachievement.com. scmaleachievement.com. There's some free tickets out there. Make sure you get those.
Make sure you get those. You want to be in the building.
Yeah.
If you are, if you have sons or nephews You have sisters with sons. I mean, get them to this conference. We're about saving our children, and that's pretty much anybody that knows my background as an educational advocate. That I mean, I'm advocating for families and children, and this is one of the ways in which I bring solutions to some of the problems that I see, in the community that I hear people talk about, and this is one of the things that you want to get in on ASAP.
We're having a job fair. Panera will be there. These are places we've only allowed you to be a job fair vendor if you're hiring. We're not taking applications. Can you hire people on the spot? So we're going to have job vendors there, which we had last year. This year we're having a scholarship fair where we're having colleges that are offering scholarships to students. We're also doing instructions for parents whose kids are rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors on what you need to do to get scholarships. I don't know about you, when I was in college, the price was different.
Yeah, it was very different.
Right now, you're talking about 4 years paying $300,000, $400,000, but there are scholarships available, and so we want to have that available. And then the last thing I'll say to you is this: everybody's not going to college.
Right. And it's okay.
It's okay.
Let's talk about that.
It's okay.
Really okay.
It's okay. So we are having a college/career fair.
Yeah, that's
We've
good.
invited local entrepreneurs who never stepped foot on college campuses to talk about what it takes to become a barber, to start your lawn service, to become a CPA's assistant, to be a nurse's aide. Those are kind of careers that don't require you to go 4, 5, 6, 7 years of college. They're successful.
They're very successful, and sometimes make more money than those of us with 4-year degree or 6, 7, 8 years of degree.
And have no loans.
And no loans. Let's talk about that part.
So you want to make sure that there's something for everybody, but the target audience is 3rd through 5th grade boys. That's the first audience. If you got a kid in your family who's 3rd through 5th grade, we have a set of workshops for them.
Okay.
We have a set of workshops for 6th to 12th grade boys.
Okay.
Those are 2 different developmental groups. You know
Absolutely.
this as an educator.
Yep.
So 6th to 12th grade, and then there's a track for fathers/adults. I mentioned the mothers only session. There's a fathers only session, keeping the flame alive in your relationship.
Oh, that's good.
And it's going to be led by none other than Trey Taylor.
Oh, wow.
Who is, in my opinion, she did a workshop a couple years ago at our conference for men.
Let's go, Trey.
It was the questions that the brothers were asking. It was just really eye-opening about really hearing a woman's perspective on what women want. Trey said something I'll never forget. She said, people think it's one way to what you want in a relationship with a woman. She said it's 25 exits that will get you there. It's folding clothes.
Yeah.
It's vacuuming. It's washing dishes. It's opening the door. It's calling when she's at work and saying, just want to check in on her.
Yeah.
I was taking notes because it was so many things that men have never heard.
Right.
That have just kind of expanded relationships. And so this is a full-on family conference, but the focus is primarily on males because I will tell you, I know this like I know my name. Brothers need a safe space. This conference provides a safe space for people to come and share and learn.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Very important. Very
awesome.
important.
Awesome. Look, Sharani commented. She thanked me for making sure you held that down.
Oh, good. I was about to let it go, Sharani. I felt like sharing something else.
Look, I got him, Sharani. I got you, boo.
I was on the edge, though. I will tell you.
I felt it. That's why I was like, no, we're not gonna do it. I got you, brother. I got you.
I was close.
Yes, so that is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, you've given like so many nuggets, so many jewels for fathers out there, for women out there, for even children who are of age on social media to be able to grab and maintain information. You guys get to that conference. Is going to be amazing. You guys can reach out to Patrick. How?
Facebook is Patrick Patterson. Twitter, Patrick Pat 803 for the Columbia area code, and on Instagram, Patrick Pat 1T 803. And then you can always go to the website, www.scmaleachievement.com. There are free tickets there for now. The price goes up July 15th. I tell you to get your tickets now. There are 2 vendor spots left. We have 25 vendors. There are 2 spots left. You have your table.
I got my table.
Every vendor that has come to the conference, if they're selling or providing information, they have maximized whatever they brought with them. You don't want to miss it. We expect 700. Last year we had 634 people. 700 folks from multiple states who are coming. If you work with children, if you run a nonprofit, if you're working with fathers, if you're working with parents at a school system, you want to be here, not just for the experience, but it's really to connect and share what you've learned as well. So I can't thank you enough for the platform.
Well, you're quite welcome.
The opportunity. This is fun. You set up, she got the ring light. I was wondering about my glasses. But this is pretty amazing, and what you're doing is amazing. So I want to just say thank you. Keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate that.
Keep doing what you're doing. I cannot tell you enough about how much I was afraid to step out of the boat, and what I realized is that I am covered.
Man.
I am covered.
Man.
We worry about followers and likes and audiences, and what God has told me in the last several years is step out of the boat. When I jumped off the side of the building, I did not know I had wings, but you will never find your wings if you stay on safe ground.
Man.
You gotta jump. So I would just encourage you and offer publicly support to whatever you're doing.
I appreciate that.
I want to make sure that you're successful in doing what you want to do as well. So if you need me, you know how to get me, and then you know my boss, Sharani.
I got your boss.
She's supervising me right
now. And I know how to get to her.
But keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate
Keep doing what
that.
you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, everybody who's tuning in, everybody who's watching. I hope that you all were thoroughly informed and inspired to, not only just come to the conference, but, get out here and let's save our male children, man. Like that's pretty much what we're talking about, and not just the male children, but also being a safe space for our adult men. Because we want to grow together. This is a family thing. It's not just about one person or the other. And I wanted our men to feel really, really special. Father's Day is coming up Sunday, y'all. Do something special. Like if you weren't thinking about it, or if you weren't thinking about doing anything because of different emotions and different things, I challenge you to think differently about it, after watching this live. And, spread this around, spread this information, because somebody that's in your circle may need this information to take the next step of forgiveness, or the next step of doing the better thing, or being the better person. So I really, really challenge you guys to do that. Make this Father's Day amazing for our men out there, and for our children, for our male children out there, and even our female children, because the young ladies need to see their fathers elevated and celebrated as well. Thank you guys so very much. Don't forget, if you need to reach out to me, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Dr. D Unlimited. And of course, I'm going to throw in, I got those t-shirts. My new line came out, Unlimited Edition. I'll be at the SC Male Achievement Conference with my t-shirt, Unlimited Edition, because I'm teaching our men and our old men and our young men that guess what, no matter your age, you're still unlimited. We believe that once you're born, you're already approved to live unlimited. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You got this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much again, Patrick. I appreciate it.
Happy Father's Day, guys.
Happy Father's Day to everybody. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon. Take care.